Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back to the show. Sophie Khoury joining us here today, our relationship coach and founder of Communication is Key LLC, hailing from the Big Apple. Yeah, New York City, New York. She joins us live here today on the podcast and the Zoomcast. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much, Jill. I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm beyond thankful for the opportunity to talk about communication is key on your podcast.
Well, it is so true, isn't it? Right? Communication is
It
key with
is.
everything. And I know you're a seasoned relationship coach and you're dedicated to helping teach couples the tools that can help them, effectively during a conflict. But there's also, you work with individuals and so much more. So let me start off by saying, welcome. And could you tell us a little bit about your coaching style and what you do?
Absolutely, I would love to. Well, I started Communication is Key, my relationship coaching practice earlier this year. It's my little baby. But
Congrats.
thank you so much. But I have been a relationship coach for a couple of years now. I started my journey as a coach a couple of years ago. And prior to that, I worked in the vibrant hospitality industry in Paris, where I'm originally from, and New York, where I currently live. And I've been living here for a few years now. So yes, that's how I started. I started, helping people within the hospitality industry for almost a decade, and realized that I really wanted to keep on helping people, but in different way, on a deeper scale and a more profound scale, and really help people with what matters in their life the most. And relationship it stops amongst them. So that's why I dedicated, my time and effort in learning more about a relationship.
Amazing. So you were born in France.
I was, yes, born and raised in
Wow.
Paris.
And tell me a little bit about your background. So, as a child, walk us through how you got into and studied hospitality management. How did that become a passion for you?
Absolutely, that's a great question. Thank you. Well, it came from my dad. My dad works closely with different luxury hotels in Paris, kind of like as a consultant, not directly with them, not for them, but with them, I would say.
Got it.
And he always took my sister and I have an older sister who also lives in New York City, Mary. He always used to take Mary and I to work with him, especially
Wow.
during summertime. We didn't have, a dedicated nanny or something like that. So he would take us, and it would be really fun for us to be, in those beautiful palace and, hotels, with all, everything that was just shiny and abundant. And
Shiny, new,
oh,
clean,
yeah.
and right at your fingertips, including the pools.
Exactly, exactly. So we were really lucky, to be immersed in this environment in a really young age, and I fell in love. I totally fell in love with this world, and I wanted to be part of it. Of course, as a traveler myself, I always enjoy a great hotel when I travel, but I also wanted to be part of it, part of this big machine than the hospitality is, and again, like I said, like helping people. I always aimed and aspired to help people in many ways. And when you work in hospitality, especially when you're facing guests, like I've been for 10 years, you definitely help on a daily basis, and you make
Wow.
their stay
So, what
special.
was the switch? What happened in your life that transpired to make you go into this field? And then tell me how you even started in this field. I know you have some mentors you worked with, some coaches yourself.
Absolutely, yes. Well, I think I really had that click, I would say, during COVID, hotels closed, and I was trying to find the next step for me. And I always also, since my teenage years, was always really into psychology. I love to learn about people and learn why we do certain things. And um, so I wanted to combine, psychology with my skills, and with, everything that I've learned from hospitality, and kind of like, that's how the idea came up at first. And I also during the COVID time really wanted to work for myself, and start my own business, my own practice.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of the idea came up back then, and
Wow.
then it took me another couple of years to really, think about it, and take the big step to finally, change my career and learn new things, and finally started my own practice.
Well,
And
congratulations.
thank
How
you
can
so
we
much.
find you? What is your website?
It is www communicationiskey.com.
Perfect. And
Oh,
let's
that's
talk.
US. I'm sorry. It's
Oh,
communication is key.us.
perfect. And
Yeah.
what is your mission? Could you make this mission clear?
Absolutely. My mission as a relationship coach is really to help couples, individuals that are struggling with communication,
Hmm.
turn conflict into connection. So when I first started as a relationship coach, I realized really quickly that communication was really what people struggle with the most.
Hmm.
Um, as easy as it can seem, you know, like we're all able to communicate and we all have those skills, but when it's within a relationship, we do need sometimes that guidance, there are tools to be able to communicate effectively. We just haven't been taught in school or by our parents, or where we
Oh,
usually learn things. We just haven't been taught how
yeah.
to fight right, how to manage a conflict. And 69% of our conflict or perpetual or conflicts that keeps on happening and happening. And that's due to the fact that we're all different, which is, obvious, normal, and more fun this way. So we're all different. We come from different backgrounds, we have different beliefs, possible trauma from previous relationships. So we react, you know, with all of this in mind. So it's very important to keep this communication open with our partner and manage the conflict and letting our partner in our world, really
Hmm.
explaining why did we say that, why did we act this way. So it's really a work that needs to be done also on deeper levels, because we usually
Yeah.
just stay on the surface and argue about the dishes or something, silly, while it's
Well,
really something under.
Well, that's you mentioned conflict is not bad. You say conflict is connection. It's an opportunity to figure out who we are, what we want, respect our boundaries, what we don't want. And you say a lot of us make mistakes
Yeah,
and we start a conversation harshly with criticism. So we get defensive. These are some of the things that you could work on to help us.
absolutely, definitely. There are, like I said, tools and antidotes to those things. For example, criticism, like couples that do not know really how to manage conflict will start the conversation harshly instead of starting, with a gentle start, and start the conversation with what you feel yourself. Like, it would be so much easier if we were able to just say, I feel this way about
Hmm.
something that just happened, and I would appreciate if you, and then you give, kind of like the solution, the guidance to your partner, to for him or for her to then know what to do, because
Yep.
it's not obvious. Nothing is obvious. We need to be able to put our feelings, our emotions into words. And I know it's not, it seems easier than than it is
Easier
really.
said than done.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. But
Well,
that's
you
something that we need to, yeah.
And you also hear about couples always saying they're growing apart. And isn't
Yes.
there a percent? There was a study that you wanted to mention for the Divorce Mediation Research Project. Could you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, the myth seemed to be that couples who don't have conflict and don't fight are the successful couples, or the healthier couples. It's actually quite the opposite, because it's not because there is no conflict in a relationship that means that that couple is more successful. It just means that they will tend to keep everything to themselves and ignore their emotions, their partner emotions, their feelings, and that only creates a gap. And then you end up not knowing your partner anymore. You don't have those conversations. You
Mm-hmm.
just go by. So the research did show, the divorce mediation research
Mm-hmm.
project did show that among the divorced couples, 80% of them do divorce due to growing apart. They just, they just don't know who their partner is anymore. They lost that connection.
Yeah.
They live, as roommates, more than a couple who still, love each other. So conflict is not bad. That's something I definitely want to emphasize on. Um, it is an opportunity to, just like we spoke about earlier, create deeper connections, deeper intimacy, and really let your partner into your world, and use this conflict as an opportunity um, to do so. So that's
Amazing.
positive. It's a
Well,
positive.
thank you. And you say that conflict is that opportunity to have greater discussion. And you mentioned the first 3 minutes of a conflict conversation you say are crucial.
Uh,
So share a little bit more about this to manage the conflict conversation. Could you share how this
Absolutely.
works and tell us about successful couples and how they describe themselves instead?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. Well, I've learned about relationship and about communication from my mentors,
Mm-hmm.
doctors Gottman, Julie and John Gottman, and they say, and they've studied relationships for over 50 years. So they really
Okay.
dedicated their lives to the research of relationship. And they said that, and they realized after um, talking and helping 3,000 couples that what was noticeable is that the three first minutes are really important and really can dictate how the conversation will be and how even the first 6 years after that, like the 6 years of their relationship will be. Um,
Yep.
it can predict just with these 3 minutes because you will see how a partner is starting the conversation, like we were speaking about earlier. If they're starting the conversation with contempt and criticism, and
Okay.
instead of sharing their own feeling, they would be like, an example like, why did you do that? What's wrong with you? You are this and you're that, instead of trying to understand, listening, which we don't do enough anymore, unfortunately, and that's really something that we need to focus on. And so those 3 minutes will really determine how the conversation will be. And when someone start a conversation with harsh criticism or contempt, they only sabotage themselves in being listened to. So if you start a conversation like that, the only response you'll have from your partner is defensiveness or stonewalling. And in that case, the
Yeah.
conversation will just not go anywhere. And you're losing that opportunity not only to be listened to and communicate, but you're losing that opportunity to create, that connection that we mentioned earlier.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing this. And
Sure.
at this time, I just want to remind everyone of how we can contact you again. Would you mind sharing the website and if there's a
Yeah,
phone number or any social media page? I know you're active on social media too.
of course. So I have my website, communicationiskey.us. My email address, Sophie Khoury at communicationiskey.us. You can also find me on social media, of course. Instagram is communicationiskey 2024, and there is like an underscore in between every single word. Instagram wanted to make it harder for me to find, like the right username. And then on Facebook, you'll also find me with my first and last name, Sophie Khoury, relationship coach. Communication is key. I have a page for my practice and just my profile as myself.
Perfect. Well, what else did you want to share for us today? I know you have a lot of notes. I want to make sure we're getting through them for
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. Well, you asked me earlier, like, what are the other ways successful couples go about conflict? Because again, I want to emphasize that even successful couples do experience conflict. They not only speak about their feelings and share their feelings, they will also um, listen, and not just listen to respond, but listen to understand their partners. They will use the differences that they have with their partners, because like we said earlier, of course, we're all different, and that's why most conflict or perpetual. They will use those differences as a resource, as something that can only get them closer. Like you can learn from your partner. It's something that you not used to do. If you don't if there's something that you're not accustomed to do, your partner might be able to teach you this, and you can just grow together and have and build that together and have those moments. Another thing that is really important is able to self-soothe,
Mm-hmm.
when you are in the middle of those conflicts.
Yep.
um, One of the partner might, stonewall, like we talked about earlier, and get defensive and not want to hear anything anymore, and just want to leave the room. Well, it's okay to take a break, especially when you feel floated,
Yeah.
when you have this like physiological arousal. And it's not only okay, I think it's necessary to take that break and let your partner know, listen, I just need a break right now. I will I will take a walk. I will come back in 20, 30 minutes. So the break can be minimum 20, 30 minutes, maximum 24 hours. It shouldn't be longer than 24 hours. And you need to tell your partner when you're coming back too, and while you are on that walk or doing anything else that can bring your heart rate down and self-soothe, shouldn't be thinking about what's happening and the conflict itself. You should really just self-soothe and do something that can bring your heart rate down so you can come back and keep this conversation going. So that's one of the things that's really important, and it's one of the antidote of what the Dr. Scottman called the four horsemen.
Horsemen of the apocalypse, right?
Yes,
You can predict the end of a
exactly.
relationship. Yes, yes, yes,
Exactly, yes, which
yes.
are criticism, defensiveness,
Uh-huh.
stonewalling, and I'm missing one.
Contempt, build culture of
Content,
appreciation, defensiveness,
exactly.
taking responsibility, stonewalling. Because I have it in front of me, I'm able to just
Yeah.
know it. Psychological self-soothing. Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So all of those techniques, tools make a huge difference, make a huge impact, a positive impact on how couples go about their conflict.
Interesting. All right. And let me ask, in your time working with people, could you share a client or two experience without using their names about some of the things you're able to work with? And is it better to work with individuals, even though it's a couple thing, or you bring them together? Explain the process.
It is, I do both, like I said, right? Couples and individuals. It is a little trickier when it's only individuals because I do want, I think it is better when you have um, both people, both partners involved in the relationship with you during the work together, you need to have both really committed. That's number one, of course, committed to want to make the relationship work and committed to do the work and go really on a deeper level. Um, and you have to see them interact with one another. So it is for me, I would say, as a professional, ideal when you have both partners in front of you and you're able to work with both of them. I'm always, of course, happy to help individuals as well, but it is trickier when it is an individual who's trying, for example, to communicate better in order to go back with an ex or something of
Mm-hmm.
this nature. Um, so I find it trickier, but of course, I mean, it's just different. Every couples are different, even though we do see, patterns within the conflict and the situations that couples get into. But I do make sure to really treat every single couple and client and individuals that I have the pleasure of meeting and helping, with a unique approach, a non-judgmental approach, and I really want to make sure that my expertise is tailored to them. So I still would do that with an individual as well, but it is, to answer your question, like the differences I would see between a couple and individual. I can teach them the tools of communicating for their future relationship or for their relationship that they currently are in. But I really believe that you need to be, to do this work, and to be able to be both present and hear what your partner has to say and react to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the differences for me. And
And could you share some of the struggles you've been through personally as well? I know you told us a little bit about that in your sheet here.
about my own personal, how do you mean? As a
I
coach
was reading
or?
there was like self-sabotage or something that you mentioned in your own life or imposter syndrome. That was
Oh,
it.
yes, absolutely. Well, yes, so those are the challenges, my own personal challenges when I started my practice. Um, Not only the challenges I faced before and when I started is really just pushing myself. And the biggest obstacle was myself, as it is for most entrepreneurs out there. It's really to finally understand that you're capable of doing it, that you just have to put your mind into it, and that you're capable of doing anything that you put your mind into it, and that you have really to find something that you're passionate about. So so you don't feel like you're working really. It's if you're passionate about it, it's a quote that I love when they say, choose something that you love so you don't feel like
Yeah.
you don't feel like you're working any day. Um,
Oh,
so that's something that I really wanted for myself. And so once I finally um decided to do it, uh the imposter syndrome did start happening, and I did feel like, why me, how can I help people, or why, what would people would say, like, why is she able to help me, what is the experience, that what does she know more, so the imposter syndrome does is real, and did did come into place when I first
hmm.
started, but I'm very proud and happy of the outcome, and how far I've came.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. And, on the website, you can check out
Yeah.
also some reviews there saying you're an amazing relationship coach. If you go to the Yelp website, there's some reviews there. And again, looks like that was from Jennifer P. You say also you offer an initial consultation if someone's interested in working with you. Let me
Absolutely.
ask, how long is that? And it's free for the first, I guess, was it 15 or 30 minutes?
Yes, so it would be like a 30-minute consultation assessment call. And then I offer virtual sessions of an hour, like we talked about, with couples or individuals. So I can do it pretty much anytime, anywhere, and I do take new clients, and they can find me, like we talked about earlier, on the website, where they can leave their email address. So it's communicationiskey.us. They can just fill out a form or reach out to me via email, chat on the website. You can find me on the social media platforms. So on my Yelp page as well. So I'm definitely out there on the internet, and I would be more than happy to connect with any of you who are listening today, and help as much as I can. Really turning those conflicts into connection.
Yes, and you mentioned on the Instagram page that I'm on, conflict is the main reason couples seek help. It is also an opportunity for greater intimacy, deeper connection, and lasting love.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned the statistic of, did you know that 69% of conflicts are perpetual conflicts? This is not a negative thing, it's more in the caption. Yes.
Yes.
How
Yes.
would you want to sum up today's show for us and about, what makes you stand out and how you can help someone out there? Again, individuals, couples, and it's adults only, right? So is it 18 and older you work with or?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really, like, so far, all my clients have been, I would say, couples are married and between a 30 to 50 years old range. But I'm open to, of course, anyone that that is seeking this help and really want to improve their communication, and create, and just have a healthier relationship and lasting love. So the way I would like to sum it up is that I'm, like I said, I take new clients, and I'm open. Um, I just want to make sure, that I have this very safe environment where my clients can feel free to share with me, and really work together, and get to those deeper levels, and be able to, get only like a positive impact, and grow, grow in their relationship as individuals, and as a relationship. So I'm here to help. I'm here to teach those tools that I've learned, again,
Yeah.
from doctors John and Julie Gottman, who are world-renowned researchers and psychologists, and they are absolutely fantastic. I've learned everything from them, and I've learned really so much, and it's really, the tools are right there. The tools are right there, and I really want to teach as many people as possible those tools, in order to help on a bigger picture. And I really want to also mention something, like, we shouldn't underestimate how our relationship partnerships affect society. Like, our relationship partnerships have ripple effect on our children, our extended families, on our friends, on our work relations, because we do, carry those feelings, and those um emotions with us on a day-to-day basis. When
Yes.
you're not feeling well in your relationship and you just had a conflict with your partner and you're just not feeling good about it, of course you're taking that with you, wherever you go. So
Yeah.
this have definitely a ripple effect on society as a big picture. So like I said, my goal, my mission is just to help as many people really going
Aw.
forward.
Well, thank you again for being here, for joining us, and looking forward to the next time we get to connect. Thanks again, my
So,
fellow New Yorker, shall I say.
yeah,
Have a great day,
thank
okay?
you. You too, Jill.
Thanks
Have a great
again.
one.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.